Yo, 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 welcome back to the Feuding Bros, as usual, with Thierry and Freddie, and let's go. All right, we are back again for a new season, season 2025-2026. In these few episodes, we're just going to be reviewing, some of the teams' seasons, last season, and talk about what they need to do going on from there. And the first team that we're going to talk about today is a team very, very dear to my co-hosts. And there's only one place to start, and it's Manchester United. As usual, guys, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let's go, guys. Okay, let's talk about United, and yeah, I guess let's
Not to say.
start with the review
Well,
from last season. What were your expectations, and what happened?
I mean, what happened is really the question because I think everybody was shocked to see how terrible everything went. But I mean, talking about expectations, obviously coming off a bad season, even the season before this past season, um, we were just expecting some improvement and a lot of improvement. We were expecting at least to be back in the Champions League places. Minimum, maybe you could have we could have accepted a Europa League finish if you win maybe a cup or something like that again. Um, but yeah, I think the expectation, at least the most realistic expectations from most fans would have been a Champions League place, considering as well the previous manager who was there, Eric Ten Hag, in his first season managed to get a Champions League place and to do a good job. Um, then yeah, you go on to this season having come off of the back of a bad season, and I mean, kind of gave you a pass because you had a lot of injuries and you still won a cup and blah blah blah, and you come into this season and which we didn't really start well, and it just got worse from there. It really just got worse from there, and it
Big
was
time.
a total shambles, total mess in the end. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Freddie, what do you have to say? What do you have to
Yeah,
add to
man.
that?
I mean, wow. That's a great summary. That's pretty much what it was. Expectations were high, and um, never came close to it. On the opposite, like we were looking at the other end, trying to survive relegation at some
Yeah,
point, right? So yeah, worst season ever as a Man U fan personally. Like I've never seen something as bad as this. And even as things were going on, you still felt like okay, nah, it's just a blip. It can't be that bad. It's not gonna be bad like that all season. And
yeah,
guess we never recovered. Like we never recovered. So yeah, fell off pretty badly this season, and I know we're gonna be talking about it, but right now we should see the frustration. We should feel it. We should feel like the desire of the club you know of that failure waiting on the players. But I'm not feeling it. Like I don't know about you guys. Like I'm not feeling it. We got what 1.5 signing by now. We in July.
One and a half signing. That's deep.
Like that's how poor we are. Like nothing is complete at this club right now. So yeah, big times, like terrible times at Man U. Um, tough times to be a fan right now.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about. I mean, let's remind everybody where United finished. Obviously, you did get to a Europa League final that you did lose uh, in. Well, you just lost with a limb against your closest rival, if you want,
yeah,
in the Premier League, Tottenham, and where it was a final where you were going into it, you were the favorite according to a lot of people, and you did lose that. And obviously, the most shocking thing is that 15th place in the league.
Yeah.
And I guess my question here is, uh, we what actually went wrong with the season? Obviously, you didn't go off to because. Uh, the previous season, it was there was some encouraging signs, like Thierry said. You guys, you got Ten Hag who managed to get you in the Champions League, and you should have been kicking on from there. So, what actually went wrong this season, in your opinion?
In my opinion, right, I feel like the first mistake, most people will say the first mistake was not sacking Ten Hag after, he won the FA Cup against City, right? So that's why most people will put it. They'll say that's the first mistake. We kept him, then we had to sack him mid-season, and Amorim came in with a team that he doesn't know, with a different system, and things didn't gel.
But do
That's
you but do you think it was a mistake though? Because at the beginning of the season, you were against sacking Ten Hag.
yeah.
So for you, was it a mistake? I mean, you can say what most people would say, but what would you say? Was it a mistake in the end, and do you admit that it was a mistake, or do you still think that it was you should have kept him back there?
Yeah, I was just coming to it, man. Like, in my opinion, I think the mistake was actually sacking him. All right, I think the mistake was sacking him. I don't think it would have been worse than this with somebody that's been there in his third year with his players. For me, it would have done better than shaking the whole system like we did. The good thing is that was needed. The shakeup was needed for Manchester United as a club in general. We Amorim came in and said that. He said this club needs a shock. The players need a shock, right? And I think we all seen that that's what happened. Even going all the way to the final and losing it to our bitter rival, that was another shock there. So yeah, for me that's what went wrong. Sacking Ten Hag mid-season with no plan. They clearly had no plan when they brought in Amorim, and we're still seeing that right now. Struggling to get in players, struggling to implement everything around him. So yeah, it was wishy washy pretty much, in my opinion.
Wishy-washy, yes. But when you say it was sacking Ten Hag, that was the problem. And Thierry, I want you to react to that too. Just you're gonna tell me if you agree with that, and just react to this question. When you say that that was the problem to sack Ten Hag, but at the time when they sacked Ten Hag, I think we all knew by that time that Ten Hag's position was untenable because by that time results were. I mean, I think he was sacked when he was like 13th in the league. Yeah, so I mean, it was going downhill. So I mean, to
It
say
was
that,
4 points. Sorry to interrupt. It was 4 points off of the top four.
yeah, but it was still 13th in the league. So it's your league position. If you finish at the end of the season, if you finish 13th in the league, 4 points off top four, you're still 13th in the league. So I'm just saying that at that time where he got sacked, and I think most people agreed, he had lost for me the dressing room. He had lost the trust of of the higher up in the clubs, and he has lost the trust of most of the fans. A lot of the fans that were backing him in the end turned on him. So was it really the problem there to sack Ten Hag for you?
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously, like we that was a big raging debate that went on last summer, and at the time, I didn't think it would be good to sack him, and I don't think it was good to sack him mid-season like we did. But I think probably the best thing to have done if they were gonna sack him was to have sacked him in the summer. You didn't sack him in the summer, which I didn't think they should have sacked him because I was like, first season he was great, second season he struggled, but there was a lot of mitigating circumstances as we all saw. So give him his third season, and for me it made sense. And at the time, obviously hindsight is 2020, but at the time I don't think there were very a lot of appealing options for managers to come in and do a better job. I know they talked to Tuchel a little bit, which that would have been a guy I would have been okay with, but that broke down because obviously I don't know they couldn't agree on the project or whatever. But I think in the summer would have been the time if you were gonna sack Ten Hag to do it. They didn't do it, which I was fine with. I was okay with. You go into the season, and then obviously the position kind of did become untenable because I think it was mainly the fans. Really, it was mainly the fans. Obviously, the results weren't great, but I don't, I can I think we got Amorim came in after the November international break,
Yeah,
so that's maybe 8 9 games into the season, like
yeah,
maybe 10. The season is very young. Like Freddie said, yes, you're 13th, but you're 4 points off top four. So you're
yeah,
thinking, okay, um, maybe we can improve. And even then, the game, the game that got him the sack is a
exactly,
game where we totally dominate the game
exactly.
from start to finish and still manage to lose somehow. And that was a story really to start the season where a lot of games we were the better team
Yeah,
and we just shoot ourselves in the foot.
yeah,
So yeah, so yeah, I mean, to at that point, you sack him, you bring in a guy like Freddie said. I don't think there was a real plan. I think they went just for like a sexy name, Amorim. Okay, so you bring in a guy that plays a completely different system. You know, you don't have money to help him out in January, um, and then as well, you also like remove a few players in January. I know we probably wanted them to leave, but it, again, it's players that you're removing um, from the squad, and we can see that towards the end of the season, we just had nothing up top, you
yeah.
know, and it's just like the season was not well managed. And if you chose to stick with Ten Hag, I think the best thing would have been to really just stick with him. I think with Ten Hag, we would have finished in a better position.
Yeah.
Does that mean that Ten Hag was the answer
Uh,
for the future?
no,
No, probably
definitely
not.
not.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have survived.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, I mean, I guess hindsight is 2020. I mean, you can
Yeah,
say that either way, one way or another. I mean, it's your opinion, and that is that you're entitled to that. But moving forward, in the second half of the season, as you said, Amorim comes in, and it comes in with with some reputation. I'm not going to say it's the biggest reputation, but it comes in
yeah,
with some reputation, and I think that for me for the sanity of the club and the fans, Ten Hag had to go. But maybe the replacement wasn't quite as we expected him to be because usually you get a new manager bounce in the team, which we didn't really get with him. I mean, he did go on a little run of non defeats, not even a run of wins. It's just, a run of non defeats, and we
Yeah.
were like, okay, it's getting better. But you guys were like, oh, it's getting better, it's getting better. But yeah, so what did you think of Amorim and his half of the season? I know we've talked along about it, and we kept saying that this is a freebie for him. Obviously, he's trying stuff and everything, but beyond that, what do you think Amorim's impact was in this team?
Yeah, with Amorim, it's hard to talk about him without talking about the conditions that he came in, right? So that's the thing. Because he came in into those conditions, that's why we're concluding that this is a freebie of a season. That's really the only thing. Otherwise, the record he has right now, Ten Hag would have been sacked for that record. So he should be sacked for that record, technically. Honestly, if he's sacked, you can't really argue it. He's had what? I think seven, no, 4 victories in 24. I need to get my numbers right.
no,
But it's
it's
probably,
probably like 7 or 8, I think.
yeah, seven victories in 24. And
Yeah,
don't know how many defeats. Not sure how many draws. I need to probably have my numbers right. But yeah, like it's a terrible record. Like it shows that he did not improve the team. There was no new manager bounce for sure. So what was the plan again? What was the plan to bring this guy? That's my whole point. Once you stick with Ten Hag, as Thierry said, let him carry on, or at least even wait until January, until you have a window, until like there is a break, until we can reassess a little bit. But just because of fan pressure, because that's what it comes down to. It was like media pressure, fan pressure. The club didn't really want it because they kept him. They had a
But
review.
I think on this point the club is kind of in a hard place because if you carry on and do whatever you want to do, the criticism will be that you're not listening to the fans, and then once you listen to the fans, there's still a problem, you know. So
Right.
you kind of
Yeah.
stuck between a rock
So
and
you
a
have
hard
to make
place.
your decision. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
thing.
They
Which they,
messed it up. They messed
Yeah.
it up. They messed it
but
up the moment.
is it they messed it up by sacking him, or is they messed it up by not replacing him adequately? And if it is the second one, that
Yeah.
means that you are accepting that Amorim is not the man for you guys. Is that what you're saying?
Again, Amorim can only be judged based on the condition he came into. That's the thing with him. We can't really assess him properly and say, okay, he's the guy, he's not the guy, because of the conditions he came to. Now that he's gonna have a full season, we're gonna be able to answer. All of us will be able to answer. But again, with Ineos and the Glazers, the mistake was they made mistakes on many fronts. The first mistake, that's clearly hindsight for everybody. Was keeping Ten Hag. I wanted them to um,
You
to
mean
keep,
sacking him?
yeah, yeah, they kept him after winning the FA Cup. So I guess
Oh,
that's a
you
mistake.
mean last season?
Yeah, like the season before they kept him because of the FA Cup. When the season started, the second mistake was to sack him this early into the season. So they made multiple mistakes for me.
Do you agree, Thierry?
Yeah, I mean that's why I think they made the mistakes. And I mean, you bring in Amorim, that's fine. Like to go back to your first question, did he do enough? He did not do enough, and he knows he didn't do enough. I think the one thing Amorim has over Ten Hag, which you need to have as a Man U manager, is is charisma. Like he can
Yeah,
talk, and he can get people on board, and he's smart with his press conferences, and sometimes he brings out headlines just so that the media cannot do it. Like he
yeah,
just says stuff, ridiculous stuff that he knows the media is gonna say, but he brings it out first to kind of cut them off. And he was smart with that, and that really, I think that saved his job because
yeah,
I think if you let's say he was like a Ten Hag in the press conferences with his performances, they would have sacked him. They would have
yeah,
sacked him. Like there would have been too much pressure, like from the fans, from the media again. And but yeah, so I think you bring in Amorim, you didn't make the right probably at the time decision. I think Amorim was more of a guy that you have to give him a summer. So
yeah,
now you have him and he's there to judge if he's the guy or not. Like Freddie said, we have to see next season. And it's gonna be very quick for him. It's gonna be probably a 10-game thing, which is
yeah,
unfortunate. That's the situation they put him in. And I think he knows it too. So yeah, it's gonna be a quick 10 games. I don't agree with it. I think they should really just give. I mean, we finished 15th. Like, all right, can he really get any worse? He can, but like, can he get any worse? But like, I think just give him the season. But we know how it goes in the Premier League, so we'll see how he does.
We'll see how it does indeed. All right. Well, so I mean, that was just a quick review of last year, but let's move forward and let's look ahead to the new season and based on what we've just discussed and talked about, what went wrong last year, what are the areas that Amorim will need to improve in terms of signings? Just like Freddie said, you've made a signing and a half, but the only guy of note that came in is Cunha, and I've seen that you've signed this young defender from South America. Not
yeah.
really know anything
Diego,
about it.
yeah,
Diego Leon, that's it. I don't really know anything about him. Maybe you got something to say, but something to to teach me today. But apart from that, it's gone a little bit quiet in terms of even rumors in the media for on the Man U front. We're not. I mean, you guys are still struggling, haggling on the on the on the Umbuemo deal. I'm not too sure what's going on there. Maybe you will explain better what's going on there to me. But yeah, I mean, I'm not seeing that the obvious problems that you guys had last year are being addressed right now.
No, they're not, and they're not. By now it should have been. We should have been making headway. We should be like, okay, we're making something. But right now we're actually worried as fans. So it just says everything, right? Um, yeah, the best players are getting taken. That's the worst thing that's going on for Manu right now. The fact that the best players are getting taken right
But
now.
I mean, is Man United in that shopping window?
Yeah, we were never in there.
Yeah,
We
so
were never gonna get them.
yeah,
I don't
Yes,
think
we
we
were.
were.
We always are. As long as we have money, we're always in the shop for anybody. That's
so
Manu.
what do
That's
you?
that's
Uh,
yeah.
If
I
we
was
have
like,
money, we're getting Osimhen right now. There's no
but
doubt.
I've heard that Osimhen has refused to go to you guys,
Because
and
we don't have money. They're trying to lower his salary, and that's the one thing he's not budging with
but like
nobody. With.
people will come to us as like if I didn't get a club that's competitive.
that's it right
Right.
now.
If
You
you
got
didn't get
yeah.
if you can't go to Chelsea or to Barca or whatever.
But
And to
that,
be
Like
that's
honest,
even wrong,
and to
though.
be
That's
honest
but
as
if
even
we're in
well,
a
wrong.
running with people, they don't come to us.
yeah. And hold on,
That's
and to
even
be honest
wrong.
as well, and to be honest as well, you mentioned Osimhen, like no one else is after Osimhen. To be honest, so
It's
that
because
you
of the
have
salary for most of
you
them.
have you have a free run
Yeah.
on him. But I mean, if you gotta pay him. One of your main problem is a striker, and you know that. I mean,
Yeah,
you did get Cunha. Cunha is more of a number 10 than a
exactly.
number 9. I mean, maybe you can convert him, or maybe Amorim can convert him. But I mean, Amorim is still looking for a striker, and you got a striker out there. I mean, for me, I'm just gonna segue a little bit, but Arsenal. I know we are debating whether it's Sesko or Gyökeres, but
It's
for
gonna be your
me,
carrots for you guys. Yeah,
but for me, a guy like Osimhen, I would jump at him instead of these
big
two in a
time.
heartbeat.
Yeah,
So for you have it, like I said, you have a free run, right? And yes, his salary is a sticking point maybe for you guys, but
yeah,
is it not something that you need to, because it's not going to be expensive to get? That's the thing.
yeah. That's the thing. The transfer fee and everything, the release clause, whichever it is, it's attainable. It's just the salary. We're trying to move away from that literally at the club right now. They gave the shirt, they gave Rashford's shirt to Cunha, right? So the message is clear out there. They're trying to lower salaries, they're trying to restructure things, they're trying to do things differently. So they can now circle back and splash money on Osimhen, even if they have it. But if they had it back in the day, that's what we used to do big signings for a good like 5 7 years. We did just big signings. So they used to this, but they're trying to do it differently. That's what I think, right? So yes, the striker for us is a priority, but I do think with Cunha and I say 1.5 because Embuemo, we don't know where he's at right now. He's in the plane, he's in the clouds. We don't know. We just need to pay him, just sign this thing and let's be done with that. But that's adding a lot of goals, right? That's like 30 goals we're adding with just those two to the team, right? So the striker is still important, but we are fixing some of the issues, which was mainly scoring goals, right? And we were leaking goals as well. So the keeper, that's something I would say, yeah, from this season onwards, is going to be a priority. We all know what we saw the last few years with Onana, right? So I think yes, striker, defense. I think the defenders we find, but maybe a keeper, and I would say midfielder we should be good. But right now, nothing is being done to reinsure us. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah,
I mean,
and is there players out there that you guys are looking at? I mean, for a keeper, I think you need to jump at the Ter Stegen situation right now.
Mm.
I, I don't know. I mean, I have a more. I'm more.
Onana 2.0 though.
Yeah,
Ter
I don't
Stegen, you
know.
think so?
It's
He's
good.
gonna
It's
take.
good. It's better.
No,
It's
he's
better.
very good. But again, like he's gonna come on a massive salary, and he's on a massive salary at Barca. So you're not gonna get him for cheap. Even I don't know what the transfer fee will be, but he's coming with a big salary. So I mean, I don't know. I think there's other keepers out there maybe that like it doesn't need to be like a world class keeper. If you can get a good solid keeper that is like shown to be solid and is consistent and stuff, it doesn't have to be a world beater. We just need somebody that doesn't make a lot of mistakes for
Yeah.
now. But I mean, I have a more optimistic, I guess, positive, because I know our fan base is already starting to panic and
Nah.
like and it's already
Look
like
at the
getting
signings
dark.
around us. Like that's what's killing. What's killing is what the top, let's say the top six is doing, the top 10 is doing. Like that just shows us where we're gonna be next year.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not dining at that table. I mean,
Yes.
Yeah,
right
we're
now.
trying to. So imagine.
No, but you're not. But what I'm saying, you're not an appealing club for these type of players right now because you don't have much to offer. Like
Cunha wanted to come. Umbuemo wanted to
no,
come. These
but,
are
yeah,
top
of course.
players, though.
No, but Cunha and Mbuemo are coming from below.
It's an
They're
upgrade
stepping
for
up.
them. Yes.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the top clubs, the top. I mean, you were in for Jokeres as well. He said no,
Yeah.
because you don't have Champions League to offer,
Yeah.
and is not seeing a clear structure in the plan that you guys have for the future.
Yeah.
So there's not much for these top players to.
True.
Of course, an Mbeumo and a Cunha, you're coming from Wolves, you're coming from Brighton, and you're going to United. Of course, you jump at that, but
Yeah.
the top ones that I don't think right now you have to be realistic to say that you're not dining at that top table.
Yeah, yes, I think yes and no, because yes, that's true. Like in the sense that like those top players, they're probably not coming to Man U. But in a
No.
sense, I think also in a way for maybe the one thing that works for us is that you are Man U, and a lot of people that are playing right now, they grew up wanting to play for Man U. And I think that's what can save you as well, in a sense where you can maybe get a
Yeah.
Cunha
That's the
and an
pull, man.
Mbeumo.
It's still working a little bit.
Yeah, that works a little bit. Like it's not massive, but like you will get some players that are like, yeah, I can go to maybe this club that's doing better right now, but that Manu is my dream, and they'll go to Manu because of that. So there's that sense as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
how many players are like that? Not right now. Most players they just it's
I
just
think there's a good amount. But I mean, they're not gonna be, like I said, they're not gonna be the world beaters and the world class players, because they also have career plans they want to adhere to, and
that's what I'm saying. So
they
right
want to
now
reach
you are at a certain.
certain level.
You need to look at a certain level of players that or unless.
True, true, but like in that category is Acuna, which a lot of people are dissing Cunha right now. I don't know why, because I feel like a lot of teams would have wanted Acuna,
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, man.
because
We're
Who's
always
who's
so
who's
good.
this
kind of
in
like,
Cunha? I haven't seen that. Who's this in Cunha? I think Cunha is a good player.
yeah, a lot of team fans from other teams, Chelsea, Arsenal, like, yeah, it's just he comes from Wolves. He's just like, he's those kind of players that only you guys can get. That's the only type of players you guys can get. Type stuff. Like he's just a decent player. That's it. Uh, I mean, I don't. I feel like if he went to a Chelsea or something, he would have been saying a different thing. But anyways, that's a side bit. I'm just, for me right now. Obviously, things are moving slower than we probably expected. But I think there's been. I think there's been. Uh, I'm more optimistic, especially if we get Mbuemo in soon, which I think we will, unless something surprising happens. It looks like they're just fighting over like 3 or 4 million right now, like, which I'm like, just get it over with at this point, just get it done. But if you get Mbuemo in, like Freddie said, you got Cunha, you got Mbuemo. Cunha 15 goals, and Mbuemo 20 goals. Obviously, those were big seasons for them. They may not replicate that, but even if they both get, I don't know, 12, 13 goals, that changes your outlook massively in the season. I mean, you look at the table right now, we scored 44 goals. Like, if you can add 20 goals to that, that changes your season massively, massively, massively. So,
Yeah, but I mean, the problem is not necessarily about scoring goals because yes, you did struggle
it
with that,
is.
but there's so many other problems. Like obviously, we talked about the keeper leaking goals left, right, and center.
It
Defense
is.
defense is appalling. I mean, it did improve a little bit with Mazwawi came in and the other kid, what's his name? Um,
Delete.
The league.
Not Delete. Delete is nowhere to be seen right now. The fullback that you got in January. Um,
Dogu. Yeah, Delete played most of the
but, but,
season. It was
but,
just
The league
towards
played
the
most of
end.
the season. Yeah.
Yeah, just towards the
okay.
end, the last 2 months maybe.
Yeah, I mean, for me, your best center back still at the club is still Maguire, and
Yeah,
that is
this
probably
season.
saying that's probably saying something about that defense. Midfield, obviously, there's a lot to do in midfield, a lot to do in midfield. Like the likes of, I mean, I don't know if you guys still keeping Maino. I've heard rumors that he was going to leave or something, but
He's
you know,
staying.
okay, but the mounts not doing anything. The Casimiros shouldn't see another day in this in this team. And Bruno. We know how Bruno can get. You hope for an excellent season. You're good. If you start soaking, you're in a lot of problems. I think there's a lot of problems that your team needs to address, and is Amorim the guy that will be able to address those problems
I
and
mean,
take it forward.
that's my thing is that obviously there's a good amount of problems, but I think for me the main thing that would change everything for us is goals. That's the last 3 seasons we haven't had consistent goal scorers,
Yeah,
and that changes your season massively.
it does.
You can be a team that leaks goals, but if you can score, you'll be at a certain place
Yep.
in the league most of the time. Goals is the be all end all most of the time because like you just need, and that puts pressure on your defense as well. If you cannot score, your defenders are under pressure because they know
Yeah.
if we concede,
Your
we're
whole team
done.
is shaky. Yeah.
Your whole team is under pressure because like any mistake is gonna be punished and the game is lost.
Yeah.
So I think that would change massively. Adding goals would change the outcome of this team massively. Obviously, there's other problems here and there, but I think a lot of these players are much better than what they showed. Um, and
Hmm.
if you can get them in a structure where,
A lot of these players are much better than what they showed. Like who?
Yeah. Let's come back to that.
I mean, so many players. I mean, Mainu is much better than what he showed last season.
Is he
True.
Um,
True.
on on
True.
on
yes, he
on
is.
on
True.
what
True. 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 Based on the season they had
on what
Based on the
basis?
season
He had
before,
a great season with
yeah,
United and with
the
Okay,
England.
league
it
is
was
much better
just,
than
it was
what he
just
showed for
exactly where
most
it
of the
was at. But
season.
anyway, yes, carry on.
What?
Yeah.
What did you say?
I said I was just. I mean, he was injured a lot of the season, but when he came
Yeah.
on,
This season.
he,
Yeah.
he was. Yeah, he was exactly where he was. Like he
No,
hasn't.
he was not playing. He
He,
was not as
The
effective
season
as he was
before
the
that, it
previous
was
well, I
good.
mean,
season.
that's an opinion, bro.
Yes.
Yeah, who else?
The league is much better than he showed.
Is he?
Freaking
Well,
Dalot is much better than he
we've
showed.
seen the lead of Bayern Munich. He was nothing there, and he came
It
in.
was that. It was literally about this whole narrative of the late at Bayern Munich. He was one of their best defenders.
No, he
The fans
wasn't.
were
He
literally
got.
complaining when
He
he
was
left.
dropped,
That's
and
what people say. He was
That's what
injured.
people
That's
say,
why
but it's not true.
he was
so why did
subbed.
they sell
Dyer,
him then? So why did they sell him?
Dyer came in
This
mid-season.
one
He played
So why
20.
did they
opportunity.
sell him?
Wait. Listen. Dyer came in mid-season. They keep saying, "Oh, he was dropped by Eric Dyer." Dyer came in mid-season. He played 20 games, started 19 of them with the league, but he was dropped but the league was dropped by
So why
Eric
did they
Dyer.
sell him?
How does that even make sense?
So why did they sell him?
Huh?
So why did they sell him?
This
Because
one
he's injury prone and he hasn't got to the level that everybody thought he was gonna get to because everybody thought he was gonna be a monster
That
and he hasn't got to
you
that
see,
level. But it doesn't mean he's
I
terrible.
mean,
Like,
from what I've seen, there was a lot of criticism on him at
they were
Bayern.
literally complaining. The fans were literally complaining when he left.
Well, from what I've seen, they were literally complaining about his performances. But anyway, the late. Okay,
Anyway,
if you think that
okay.
you can improve, that's fair enough. Who else?
Obviously, Hoyland was terrible first season. He was much better than what he showed. We can see we can hope that he can get back to a decent level. We don't know. We'll see. I mean, even the new signings like Xerxes didn't reach the level that he showed before. Um, Who else? Euro. I mean, he played well towards the end of the season. Again, we can hope that he can come back and do well. Um, like I think that's a good amount of the team right there. Like
That's
obviously,
not
I
a
mean,
lot
there's
though. That's not a lot, man. Like that's the thing. For me, I feel like those signings are so key because we've had an
we're not
accumulation.
gonna get 10 players.
No,
Like
we're not gonna get ten
we
players.
need
We're
to
not
get
gonna get 10
three
players.
or four, five good. I think
That's what I said.
three,
Yeah,
4, 5 good signings can change so many things in this team.
exactly. That's
Yeah,
precisely what I said. I said a striker, maybe a goalkeeper or defender,
yeah,
and then a midfielder. That's three. That's only three. And these are the only
exactly.
three we need to get a little bit more confidence. And that's what I'm saying right now.
That's
Yes,
what I'm saying too.
yeah, we need to get them in addition of obviously Cunha and Ubemo that we're getting right now. So that's five signings that we need in total, and we've made one so
If you
far.
get these two guys,
Yeah,
I think if you get Cunha and Embuemo,
yeah.
your need for a striker is not as great.
It's not as great, but
I
it's
think
still
if you
there
get Cunha
because
and Embuemo, if you can get a striker too,
yeah,
good. I think after Cunha and Embuemo, you address the keeper and you maybe add a midfielder. But
if they do it in
even
that
then,
order, that's fine. I'm fine with that. All right.
yeah,
It's not. I wouldn't say the striker is the most important because again, as I mentioned that the goals are being addressed, and I do think I agree with you. The goals are gonna change this thing because that's been the biggest problem. When Rashford had a good season, we finished third.
yeah.
That says with Maguire and everybody there back there still.
Exactly. That's what
Right?
I'm saying.
So
All of a sudden, these players are like, oh,
yeah,
they're the worst players we've ever seen. And then, well,
I mean,
2 years
to
ago,
some
they weren't
extent,
there.
the
Like,
extent there,
so I don't get it.
for me, it's
You
like
don't get it. You finished 15th. That's
for
what
me,
But that's what I'm saying. It's a bad season. You can have a
it's a
bad
bad
season
season,
and
but
still be a good player.
it's
It
been a
doesn't
few bad
mean
seasons. It's been a few bad seasons.
the
a
problem
few.
for
Yeah.
Okay, 15th and
we
8th in
finished
an
eighth and
injury-ridden
15th. This
season.
has been the only two for the
Okay,
last
so that's
Yeah,
two.
decade.
That's
For the
two bad
last
seasons
decade,
in a row.
you say?
And that's two bad seasons in a row, and the trend is going
Yeah.
down. And that's what we're saying.
That's
In
what
order
people
to
want.
get,
That's what people want. People want us to go down so bad. I don't get it. Like you can't have a bad
why are
season.
you saying that? People do not want. It's what we see. You
no,
finish 15th. That's not what people want. That's
I
where
mean,
you
you said it's
finish.
trending down because of two good seasons. So when we had like let's say
But
two good
is it
seasons.
or is it okay? Is it or is it not
it's
trending
trending
down
down.
when
It's
you're going
trending down. Yeah.
from 8 to 15th?
No,
Is it
it is trending down, but
okay? So
it
that's what I'm
doesn't
saying.
project for the next season that's coming. It doesn't project necessarily because we know that's what it is.
Let me tell you what it does. Let me tell you why it does project, because you are going to go back with these same players that are underperforming, and basically from what I'm hearing from you guys, you all you're doing is just hoping that these players get better instead of trying to get better players.
No,
You
no,
know,
that's what we said. I said we need those five players.
We need
We just said we need
additions.
five key players, and I've said I'm
Yeah.
worried if we're not getting these guys. That's when I know we're not gonna do better than 15th. We're not
yeah,
gonna do
fair
better
enough.
than 15th if we don't get those guys.
Okay, fair enough. So in midfield, which I think is one of your biggest problem, what profile of player do you think that you need to get over there?
That's a tough one.
I think honestly, like for me again, if you have two good tens, like we are getting, hopefully if Mbwemo gets done, I'm fine with a Bruno and a Nugate in midfield, or
But
Bruno or somebody else.
Is more of a right forward, right? So it's probably
Yeah,
competition with Ahmad on that side.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the tens, right?
Other
Yeah,
tens.
the two tens. Yeah, the two tens
They're
behind the
coming in
striker.
as two tens, but
Yeah,
originally
You
they're
mean
gonna really be
in
two
your
tens.
in your shape? Okay, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
in our system. Yeah, yeah, in our system, these two tens. If these guys are on point, like I think you're fine with a Bruno and Ugarte in midfield. Again, you look at the expectation is not to go win the league.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
we're not gonna win the league. The expectation is not to go even Champions League is a reach. To
What is the
get to
expectation?
eh?
What is the expectation? I was gonna go there, but since you're
Uh,
there,
yeah, the expectation is probably top 10, hopefully Europa League. I think that's the next step. I think they even the club even said the target is Europa League. So top 10 Europa League, you're fine. So for me, with Bruno, Ugarte, Menu, and well, Casemiro, we'll see what kind of Casemiro we get. But with these guys, it's enough. If you have two tens that are good and that can do the things that we need them to do, it's enough to finish in those positions. Can we? Is
Yeah,
would it be nice to get a midfielder? I think yes, it would be great if we can get a dynamic. We need a dynamic eight.
yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
need an athletic, dynamic number eight. That's what we need. But
I think you already got one. I think Mainu's perfect for that, but I don't know. But sure.
Menu is. I don't know if he has the athleticism. He's a very good technical player. He's more like a Pogba, where Pogba was like
It was
he
misprofiled.
can, yeah, he can get around the field like as well. Obviously, he's big and strong, but he can. He's not as mobile to get around the field. And I think that's kind of what Menu is. He's like he's strong, yes, and he's great technically, but he can get around the field for example, like a Declan Rice, or if you
Yeah,
look,
yeah, yeah.
even if you look at Bournemouth, they have like Tyler Adams and the other guy, what's his name? I forgot his name, but that English guy in midfield, and they're fit. They run everywhere. They plug guys. They get in the box. They have guys like you go those teams at the top. That's the guys that they have in midfield. Like they at least one of them. You know, so I think that's what we'll need in midfield. Obviously, you need a keeper that can save shots.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like that makes a big difference. And if we get these things, I think it changes a lot of things. But always, a lot the consensus right now is that everything is messed up already. Like
No,
already,
it's not that. The consensus is like, as I said in my intro, we're not feeling the urgency of the fact that we finished 15th, and the activity is not. It's not giving. As Jan said, like
we have
the
with the
rumors are dying down.
with the
Like
7th of July.
with the 7th of July,
If
yes,
we
and
were,
teams that have done better than us, they're done with their business.
Like, I
Not
mean, not
even,
necessarily, but I mean,
not necessarily, only
they're not
really
even
the
done with it. But look
yeah,
at what they've done already.
yeah, but let me react to that though. It's like I think what Freddie is trying to say is, like Arsenal haven't done much business as well, but this the way we are linked with so many
Yes, yes,
different
yes,
we're
people.
yes.
linked with like everyone.
But that's the
But
thing.
not in a real
I mean,
way,
I haven't heard it, so that's why that was my question. Who
No,
are you
we're
linked
linked
with?
with a lot of people.
Who are you linked with? Who is a lot?
dude.
We were
We're
linked
not
with
living with
Johnny
a lot of people.
Cardoso in midfield, and he went to Atleti. We were linked with Ekitike, Gyökeres,
These
obviously.
are
Like,
inquiries, man.
yeah, well, I mean that's how you get linked. That's how you have interest. You start with an inquiry.
Okay, then we need to define link because when we're talking about link, it's like okay, we're making a bid type stuff. That's the rumor that's going around. Not like we interested.
To make, I mean, how many bids like you saying to make a bid? Like,
And the second question, just to support that, is are those links more media orientated, or
Realistic, yeah.
is it the club actually pursuing these players?
That's
Because
what that's that's what I've seen on the media has been. Oh, there's like Freddie said, they've asked about the conditions for a deal for this player. They're not gonna make a bid if they don't have the money for it. Like they've always
That's
said, they have
the
to sell.
problem. So
Yeah,
that's what I'm
so those
saying.
links are not real then. So that's what we're trying to
yeah.
say.
Because if
That's
the
what
money
I'm
right,
saying.
I can
It's
even
what
just
what
fraud.
clubs? Okay, what do clubs do these days? These days, clubs they go if they want a player, they go to him and they figure out what would be the conditions for a contract first.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
they've signed him up on the contract, then they go talk with the club, and that can take a long time.
No, no,
And
no, no,
then
no, 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 no.
and then they would.
I'll tell you how that's dead. Just this window, we saw that it's not the case. It doesn't have to be like that. It can just be, oh, so and so is showing interest in this player. The next day, oh, they're putting a bid. Oh, third day, deal is signed. We saw that.
There's
We
not
saw that
many
with
clubs
many
that deal
players.
like that
City's
though.
done
Like
that. Liverpool's done that. Yeah.
there's not
Just
that
now,
many clubs
what's his
that
name?
deal like that. You just mentioned like two of the obviously the top clubs that they have their bigger.
Nottingham Forest and Newcastle. Elenga, that was not even a 3, 5 days top story.
No,
It's
actually, that
chaos.
actually,
That was a while. That was like a good week or two.
I mean that one, the Nottingham Forest actually refused
When
the
they put the
first
bid
bid.
in, like
Yeah,
it
they
But they
refused a
it
refused the
went.
couple
first
bids.
bid. But I mean,
Yeah.
I understand it. I think what Fred is trying to say here is it's just how slow everything is at United right now. It's just
Yeah.
it just seems to be complicated for you guys and a little bit easier for somebody else. And
Which
I
is
think that's
normal.
where I think that's where his frustration is right now. I think that's what he's trying to express.
I mean, which is for me, that's normal and expected when you finish 15th. We were just talking about that. Like, that's normal and expected that you can't just come in and be like, okay, we want this guy and then done deal. It's not like that anymore.
The
So
thing,
we
the
have
thing
to.
is, okay. Sorry to interrupt, real quick, so that I'm not misunderstood, real quick. Yes, as I said, the frustration is the lack of activity, but the activity, right? That's the thing. Like the activity needs to be formatted or like structured in a plan. Okay, we didn't get X. We didn't get X right here. Let's go to Y. Let's go to Z. But right now it feels like okay. Gyökeres, we knew kinda. He told people weeks ago he wanted Arsenal. So why are we not onto the next already? Why are we not like okay, Manu is linked with this guy. They're asking condition of this guy. They're ready to prepare a bid for this guy. We still on Umbuemo 4 weeks after. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm not trying to panic and stuff. I know things can change real quick, but we need to see it. We need to put that pressure.
Yeah, I get what you mean, and I know it's been slow. For me, I expected it to be slow because of where we finished. A lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, I expected it to be slow because of where we finished, and I know we're not the biggest name anymore to get these players. Obviously, there are some players like Embuemo and Cunha that they want to play for Man U, so they just join. But
yeah.
it's not always like that. So I knew it was gonna take a bit. I knew we were gonna have to do a lot of dealing. I knew we were gonna have to go to a lot of B, C, D options, and that's what's happening. And yes, they're taking too long on Embuemo. They should just hopefully they'll close that out this week. That's
We've
what
been saying
that's
that
what
for 2 months
that's
now.
yeah, we've been saying that for a while, but like, yeah, hopefully they close it out this week because they keep saying they want him for preseason. Well, preseason
Yeah,
started today, so
yeah.
hopefully they want him. Hopefully they get him done this week, and then after that, we really can't really do anything until we sell. So like that's what I'm like saying. Like I mean, what do you want them to do? Like you want them to go put random bids when we don't even have the money? Like we don't even know who's leaving. Like who's actually gonna
Get the
leave?
money. Get the money. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Get the money.
They have to sell
Okay,
these
well, guys,
guys.
guys, 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 we got to wrap it up, man. We got to wrap it up. I think we're just going off the road a
We
little bit,
do.
but yeah, we got to wrap it up. But I mean, last questions for you guys. I mean, I think you mentioned already. So, is the expectation for you guys and you in agreement for next season, top 10 and Europa League?
Yeah,
And,
that's
and,
pretty
and when
well.
you say Europa League, you mean winning the Europa League, right?
No,
No,
because
we're
we're
not
not
in the
in it.
European.
So
Oh, you
qualifying
mean you
for
are Europa League positions?
yeah. So
Yes.
that's what
Okay.
seventh, sixth, somewhere around
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Somewhere
Yeah.
around there.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything.
and is just that. So if you finish say seventh and you're in Europa, just that, no trophies, is that gonna be good enough for Amorim?
Yeah, we want to see
Yeah.
progress.
I think that's good enough. You finish 15th and you finish seventh. I mean you've jumped up what 7, 8 places. I think that's good enough for your first full season. Now after that
Uh,
we'll see. But right now that's the reality of it. If you finish top 6, top 7, even I'm stretching it even to top 10. If you finish like ninth, I think you're even okay. Right now.
Okay, well, I guess you heard it here first, guys. If you're my new fan, come and tell us if you agree with these two, Freddie and Thierry. Is the expectation of United just to finish in the Europa League places or minimum top 10 place? Is that what you really expect from this season? How the mighty has fallen. I have to add that. But yeah, like, share, comment, and subscribe, and leave us a comment and let us know what you think of this video. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.